Hey, welcome back to the garage, everyone. All right, we're going to continue on with the rebuild of our front suspension on our W126. Next up is going to be the steering knuckle, or whatever you want to call it. We're going to get the brake rotor off to make room for our tool to get this ball joint out. So, a few things we've got to remove. We've got to remove this arm right here that's used to connect to the tie rod, and we also looks like we'll need to remove this brake dust shield, and then finally the brake rotor. So let's get to it, shall we? All right, let's go ahead and get the rotor off next. That wasn't too bad. All right, we got a 5mm Allen wrench here. Well, that was on pretty tight. And let's, there we go. Spread it out a little bit. Go ahead and get this guy off of here, see if we can pull this disc off. All right, let's go ahead and get the rotor off then. There we go. Looks like the seal is in good condition. Our grease has not been leaking out. What I'll probably do with this when I put everything back together is I may remove the outer bearing and do a repack on it, clean them and then do a repack just to check them out. And of course we'll clean the spindle off a little bit and we'll check it. We want to make sure there's no, severe wear on the spindle. If there is, you have to replace it. But I don't think so. I haven't heard any bearing wear in this car. So this is the first time I've had the front end part like this. So, you want to inspect everything as you go, right? When you do a front suspension rebuild, if you got to take everything apart anyway, you might as well inspect it, every little bit of it, to see what's broke and what's not broke. So now we've got the disc off. We've got 3 Allen head screws right here. That'll get our dust shield off for our braking system. All right, I've got our impact wrench on low. All right. Yeah. One dust shield removed. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're ready to try to remove this ball joint. All right, here we go. We got our little setup here. Factory service manual says tap this thing out and that the ball joint will be destroyed in the process. Go figure. We've gone a whole 1/16 of an inch. All right, just to show you our progress here, you see that the tip of my chisel is there, and now it is down there. So that's our progress, about 1/4 of an inch. Woo! Just like the service manual says, the ball joint will be destroyed for this process. All right, the Mercedes-Benz factory recommended ball joint removal procedure. Pound the hell out of it until it comes out. And we're going to see if we can't get this little red snap ring off of the base of the ball joint. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Oh, come on, everybody. That was easy. We got to make sure we keep this stuff clean here, folks. I'm going to take my rubber boot with its snap ring and wrap it up in a nice clean towel and set it off to the side, off camera. All right, and then we're going to use the standard loaner ball joint press that I got from the local parts house to get this in the steering knuckle. Okay, everyone, here's what we got. We've got a loaner ballpoint press kit from the local auto parts supply house. We have a slightly different configuration for this thing. We're not using a receiver cup here at the top of the tool. Also, the tool is going to be pressing on this section of the ball joint, not on the outer lip, okay? We've also got a cup on the bottom and a press disc below that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use just the surface of the tool to press down as opposed to using a cup of some sort. We've got the tool latched down into the vise real nicely, so we don't have to buy any special tools. So I'm going to set you back up on the camera stand here and get this done. All right, let's get ourselves a little lubrication on our tool here. All right, we're going to have to, we've got the big wrench out here, so let's see what we can do here. Yeah, it's going in pretty good, actually. I think we're about there. Okay, that's what we got right there, folks. I'm calling that done. All right, let's get this thing out of the press and put the boot on it. And there's our ball joint boot. Looks pretty good to me. Now all we got to do is trick this snap ring into getting back into position. All right, combination of fingers, little pointy tools, and screwdrivers. Some twisting and turning. A little bit of cussing off camera. You got to be really careful not to damage the rubber here. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. DIY home hack shade tree mechanic. Call me what you will, but that ball joint is installed in that steering knuckle. All right, let's get our tie rod connector reinstalled onto the steering knuckle. All right, so for right now, I'm going to leave the dust shield off of the steering knuckle until I get ready to replace the disc rotor and the wheel bearings. The disc rotors have a substantial lip around the edge, and in order to replace rotors, you've got to change out the bearings anyway, so I've got those on order as well. So we're going to do a full brake job on this in addition to the front suspension rebuild, so it just makes sense. But for right now, this steering knuckle is as far as I can take it. We'll go ahead and get it reinstalled on the car along with the control arms and so forth. And then we'll replace the hubs and the wheel bearings and the dust shield and the brakes and all that stuff last. Well, all right, everyone, I think I'm going to call this a video. Initially, I was going to make this next part in this video series a combination of various pieces that needed rebuilding, but the more I got into the lower ball joint replacement, the more I realized that a single video needed to be made just on this topic. And there is very little information on YouTube or on the internet, for that matter, about how the DIY home hack home mechanic might change out the lower ball joint on a W126 Mercedes. I've seen some stuff for W140 and W123, but for W126, there's not so much. For one thing, this lower ball joint is enshrouded in this deep recess in the bottom of this steering knuckle. If you've done a search for the lower ball joint press tool from Mercedes, it's about $800. Well, I'm not going to buy that, and neither are you, more than likely. I went to the local parts house and rented a loaner ball joint press tool to do the job without having to spend too much money. So I hope you liked the video. If you don't like the video, let me know. If you do like the video, let me know that too. Please leave some comments down below and we can discuss it. Well, all right. One last thing I'd like to say is that I recently went over 200 subscribers on my YouTube channel. While this may not seem like a lot to some people, it certainly is to me, and I want you to know that I really appreciate it. So as always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe, and look forward to more cool videos from my channel and more cool videos from this W126 front suspension rebuild series. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.